Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in and welcome to my craft space. If you're new here, my name is Quinta. I am a crochet and fashion enthusiast. I like to make crochet clothes and share my patterns here, so if that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button for this and for more future content. This video with a step-to-step guide on how to make this shoulder top in any size that you want. And my favorite thing about this top is the dramatic sleeves, which makes it quite pretty and stylish. And not only that, I quite enjoy making it because the pattern is repetitive and easy to make. I enjoy making it just as much as I did. But without further ado, let's dive into the tutorial. So for this project, I'm going to use robin yarn, which is 100% acrylic, and I'm going to be doubling my strand. A 3.5mm hook, a pair of scissors just to cut the yarns, a measuring tape to get your measurement, stitch markers, and of course a darning needle to weave in your ends. Start off by making a slip knot. Depending on the height that you want for your top, make a chain that is equivalent to the height of the top that you need. In my case, I want something a little bit cropped, so I'm going to chain a total of 50. I've made a total of 50 chains. This is going to be the height of my top from here all the way to here. I'm going to chain 2. After chaining 2, on the very last, the 50th chain that you made, I'm going to make a half double crochet. Half double crochet in the next chain, half double crochet in the next chain, half double crochet in the next chain, so you're going to make half double crochets all the way across to your last stitch, and then let me meet you when you get there. So this is what I have after completing the whole row. We are going to be doing a ribbing pattern for this part. So the front stitches and there's the back stitches. So for a rib pattern, we're going to work on the back stitches. Chain 2 and turn your work. Now on the next stitch, on the back stitch, make a half double crochet. Now on the next, a half double crochet. Half double crochets in the back loop. So what you're going to do, you're going to keep on working half double crochets on the back loop till you get to the last point of your work, and then do that and let me meet you on row 3. We're going to move to the third row, but before we do that, I wanted to explain a little bit on how you're going to get an accurate measurement for this piece. Get your bust measurement and then subtract 8 inches from your bust measurement. So if I take 35 minus 8, I'm going to get a total of 27 inches. Now from 27 inches that you have, you're going to keep repeating the rows until you have enough rows that is, when you stretch your work, is going to give you 27 inches. So do that and let me meet you when you're done with that. This is a total of 67 rows that is giving me 27 inches when I measure when stretched. So So let me just show you when I measure this what I get. So when I measure this without stretching, it gives me 20 inches. I can stretch it all the way to 27, like this, 27 inches. I hope you did the same thing and you have enough rows to cover your bust. Okay, now we are on to the sleeves. So how do we make the sleeves? First of all, take a measurement of your armhole, and for me that is 11 inches. So in order to get 11 inches, I'm going to chain a total of 46 chains. That is going to give me a total of 11 inches for my armhole. You can do the same for your armhole and then find out how many chains you need to make in order to give you a total of what you have, the measurement you have for your armhole. So in my case, that is 46 chains, and that's what I'm going to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to join the ring. So just make sure that your work is not twisted in any way before you join the two. On the first chain that you made, insert your hook and make a slip stitch. Now you have this ring that is perfect for your armhole. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip the next stitch, and on the next one make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch. On the next stitch, make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and on the next one, make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and the next one, make a double crochet. Keep repeating this. Let me meet you when you get to the last point that you started so we can move on to the next row. So at the end of this row, chain 1 and then 1, 2, 3 on top of the chain 3 that you made, make a slip stitch. That is completion of the first row. So on the next row, we're gonna do the same thing. So 3, chain 4. That acts like chain 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, and in the next double crochet, make a double crochet and chain 1. And this is basically the pattern. So you're gonna do this all the way until you end the row, and let me meet you when you're done with the row so I can show you what to do from there. Just do these plain rows as they are until you get to your elbow area. Nothing changes, just the plain rows of the mesh pattern up to your elbow. And once you get to your elbow, 5 inches from your elbow, do the same thing, the same pattern, 5 inches from your elbow, a total of 5 inches from your elbow. And once you do that, you have a total of 5 inches from your elbow, the same pattern, nothing increases, just the same. Let me meet you when you get there so I can show you how you're going to get the bell part of the sleeves. So this is how my sleeve looks like to this point, the point where my the off shoulder is beginning to, this is where my elbow is, and then this is, and then the rest of the part measures approximately approximately 5 inches. So this is perfect. From here we are going to start increasing our work from here. So chain 3, chain 4, chain 3. The 3 acts like the first double crochet, and then 2 more, so it's a total of 5, which acts like 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then in the next double crochet make a double crochet, chain 2, and in the next double crochet make a double crochet. Chain 2, and in the next double crochet make a double crochet, chain 2, in the next double crochet make a double crochet. Do this until you get to the where you began, and you can move on to the next row. I'm almost getting to the end. Chain 2, and on top of the chain 3 stitch I'm going to slip stitch. And that completes the row. So I'm going to do a total of 5 rows with the same pattern. So that means 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet for 5 rows. I'm going to do that, and then do that with me, and then let me meet you when you're done with the 5 rows, so we can keep on increasing on the next part. Okay, so this is after I made 5 rows. In the next step, what I'm going to do is we're going to keep increasing so that we keep enlarging this bell pattern. So on this other side, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. So for the next increase, that's going to be an increase of a chain 3. So you're going to chain a total of 6. So the first 3 act as the first double crochet, and then the next 3 act as chain 3. So in the next double crochet make a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet in the next double crochet. So I'm coming to the end of the row of this, chain 3, and 1, 2, 3 on top of the chain 3. I'm going to slip stitch. So you're going to do an increase of chain 3 for a total of around 10 rows. When you finish with the 10 rows, I'll meet you back and I'll show you what you're going to do next. So after working on the 10 rows of chain 3 increase, this is what I have. So after that, we are going on to the next step. Now from the very last point that you left off your work, chain a total of 4 double crochets, and then in the very same space, make a double crochet. So that is going to be a V stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 3 as the first double crochet, and then the 1 chain and then 1 double crochet, a V-stitch. So in the next row, in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, and then in the very same double crochet, make a double crochet. That's a V-stitch. And then in the next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, and in the very same double crochet, make another double crochet. In the next one also, you're going to keep repeating the same thing, 1 double crochet, chain 1, and on the very same double crochet chain, you make another double crochet. And this is what you're going to do all the way across, and then let me meet you when you're done. So I'm almost coming to the end of the row. Continue to place a V-stitch on each double crochet. And after that, you're going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. On row 2. So in order to start row 2, we are going to want to start it inside the V-stitch, and in order to get inside this V-stitch, we're going to slip stitch on the next stitch and inside the V-stitch twice. And then once you get inside the V-stitch, you're going to chain a total of 4. 2, 3, 4. That acts like 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then same 1 double crochet in the very same V-stitch, like so. After making a V-stitch, chain 1, and then in the next V-stitch inside of it, make a double crochet, and then chain 1 and make another double crochet. So you've made a V-stitch, chain 1. In the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch in the next V-stitch to her, and you make a V-stitch by making 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then 1 double crochet in the same space. So you make a V-stitch. So after making a V-stitch, this is the second row, chain 1, and then move on to the next V-stitch. Make a V-stitch and chain 1. So it's very easy to kind of forget chaining the 1, but it's very important, so take note of that. In the second row after the first one, make sure that after every V-stitch you have 1 double crochet. Don't forget. So you're going to keep repeating the same thing, a V-stitch and 1 chain all the way across. And I'm gonna meet you when you're done with this second row. So on the second row, this is the last V-stitch that I had made. So chain 1, and on top of the chain 3, I'm gonna slip stitch. So onto row 4, row 3 I mean, or the V-stitches, you're going to start off, you're going to do, but basically we're going to do the same thing like the second row. So that begins by slip stitching first on the very first chain stitch until we get inside the V-stitch. That's where we're going to start our new row. So we start our V-stitch by chaining a total of 4, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, and in the very same space, make a double crochet, chain 1, and in the next V-stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet in the same space, chain 1, and in the next space, make a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, chain 1. In the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch, chain 1. In the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch, chain 1. So for this third row, you're going to do the same thing all the way across, a V-stitch and a chain 1 all the way across, and then I'm going to meet you at the end so we can move on to row 4. So on the next row, still we're going to have to begin inside the V-stitch. So we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and then slip stitch inside the V-stitch. So that means we can begin working on a new V-stitch, chain a total of 4. That acts like 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then in the very same space make a double crochet. In the next, so from here, which is the fourth row, we are going to be making a V-stitch and chain 2. A V-stitch and chain 2. So after making the first V-stitch, I chained 2, and then in the next V-stitch make a V-stitch, chain 2, in the next V-stitch make a V-stitch, chain 2, so row 4 and row 5 is going to be a V-stitch and chain 2. I'm on to row 6, which is the last row, which we're going to do. I'm going to have a V-stitch and a chain 3. So in order to begin, I'm going to start by slip stitching so that I get into the middle of the first V-stitch. Once I'm inside, I'm going to chain a total of 4, and then in the very same space make a double crochet. That's the first V-stitch, chain 3, since we are on row 6. Make a V-stitch in the next V-stitch. A V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet. Chain 3. In the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch. Chain 3 and make a V-stitch. Keep working on this V-stitch and chain 3 all the way across, and I'll meet you from where you've left so we can move on to the next step. So that is the end of my 6th row. So what you're going to do from here is just chain 1 and cut your yarn. So this is kind of how my work looks like until here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to start adding the layers. So on your sleeve, at the point where the marked where is getting into your elbow, if I was putting this on, this is where the shoulder will begin, and this is where my elbow will be. So it is at this point that I'm going to begin to add my layers, and I'm going to add my layers as I go downwards like this. So make sure you place, this is how you place your work when you're doing this. This is going to enable you to work on the right side of your work. So this is where my stitch marker is. I'm just going to take it off, and this is where I'm going to start, just below your first double crochet. I'm going to attach my yarn. So we are adding the layers by working on top of the double crochet row that we have here. So in each double crochet is going to help us make a foundation for the next row. So on this first double crochet, I'm going to chain 4, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, and after doing that, on the very same double crochet, I make a double crochet. So that is the first V-stitch attached to the first double crochet. And then this is the next double crochet. So in the next double crochet, yarn over, and on it make a double crochet, chain 1, and on the very same double crochet make another double crochet. So that calls for another V-stitch. like that. The next double crochet, yarn over. This is the next double crochet, below it, and then pull up a loop. Then you make the first double crochet, chain 1, and then just back inside the same space, make another double crochet. That calls for that is the third V-stitch. And the next, yarn over. This is the next double crochet. So insert your hook just below it, and then pull up a loop, make a double crochet, chain 1, insert your hook just below it again, same space, and make another double crochet. It's the fourth V-stitch. Keep on working the same way, and then I'm gonna meet you when you are back to where you started. First, to begin the next row, you're going to slip stitch on inside the next V-stitch, and once you're inside, chain 2, 3, a total of 4, in the very same space, make a double crochet. So that is the first V-stitch, chain 1, in the next V-stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, and just inside of it make another double crochet, chain 1, in the next V-stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, which is a V-stitch, and then chain 1. In the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch, so in this second row is just gonna be make a V-stitch, chain 1, a V-stitch, chain 1, a V-stitch, chain 1, all the way across, chain 1. So go right ahead following the same pattern, complete the second row, the same pattern that you used in the second row, use it in the third row, which is a V-stitch and a chain 1 for the third row. And let me meet you when you're done with the second and the third row, so we can move on to the fourth row. So I'm done with the second and the third row, so now we're going to move on to the fourth row. So slip stitch inside this first V-stitch and chain 4, and then very inside the very same V-stitch make another double crochet. So that is a V-stitch, chain 2, in the next V-stitch make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So that means you've made another V-stitch inside the next V-stitch, chain 2, the next V-stitch, make another V-stitch, chain 2, in the next V-stitch, make another V-stitch. So keep on repeating a V-stitch and 2 double crochets all the way across, and for this is for row 4. So you're going to do the same thing, continue and complete the fourth row, and do the same exact thing for row 5. So row 5 is also just going to be a V-stitch and a chain 2, a V-stitch and a chain 2 for both row 4 and 5. So complete row 4 and 5, and I'm going to meet you on the last row, which is row 6. So the last row is about we're going to keep increasing with the chain 3. So a V-stitch and a chain 3 for the last row. So start by slip stitching so that you get into the middle of the first V-stitch, and then you're going to chain a total of 4, and in the very same space make a double crochet. That is your first V-stitch. Chain a total of 3, and the next V-stitch, inside of it make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So your next V-stitch, chain 3, and in the next V-stitch make a V-stitch, chain 3, and in the next V-stitch make a V-stitch. Make a V-stitch and chain 3, a V-stitch and a chain 3 all the way across, and I'll meet you when you're done so we can move to the next layer. This is the end of the row, so just chain 1 and cut your yarn. Okay, so what you're going to do next after this is how this layer looks like. So in order to start a new layer, you're going to skip a total of a few rows and then start another layer in the next row. So depending on how many layers you want, the number of layers that you need on your sleeve is going to determine how many rows you skip. So me, in order to get these 7 layers that I have on this other sleeve, I was skipping a total of 3 rows before starting a new layer. So this is my first layer, right? So I'm gonna skip a total of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then in the 4th row, that is where I will start a new layer. 1, 2, 3. So if you want less layers, you're going to skip more rows, and if you want more layers, you're going to skip less rows. So the layers, you're going to work the way they're being worked, a total of 6 rows in each layer, just like we've done with this previous layer, which the first row is just a row of V-stitches, and then the second and the third row is a row of a V-stitch and a chain 1, and then the 4th and the 5th row has a row of a V-stitch and a chain 2, and the last row, which is the 6th row, having just a V-stitch and 3 rows. So the process is the same. That is the very process that I use in every single layer. So, and is the one that I'm going to use on this one. So here I just want to mark every row that I'm going to be adding a layer, so you can start working on them from there. Let's move on to the next layer, which is, this is where it's going to be. So I'm going to take off the stitch marker, and in this very first double crochet on it, I'm going to attach my yarn, pull a loop, and attach your yarn right there with the slip knot. After that, chain a total of 4, 3, 4. That acts as 1 double crochet, chain 1, and go back inside the double crochet and make a double crochet. So yarn over, and in the very next double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, in the very same space, make another double crochet. In the next double crochet stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, and the very space, make another double crochet. In the next double crochet, you're going to do the same thing, make a double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Double crochet, chain 1, in the very same space, another double crochet. So keep on working on the same way, in all double crochets all the way across, and I'll meet you when you get to where you started so we can move on to the next row. Slip stitch until you are inside the V-stitch, and then chain 3, 4, in the very same space, make a double crochet, your first V-stitch for the next row, chain 1, in the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch. Chain 1 and a V-stitch in the next V-stitch. chain 1, so this is your pattern for round 2. Keep on working, a V-stitch, chain 1, a V-stitch, chain 1 all the way across. Now you're going to do a V-stitch and a chain 1 for the second row and the third row as well. So finish the second row, a V-stitch, a chain 1, and do the same thing in the third row, and then I'll meet you on the 4th row, show you what to do on the 4th and the 5th row, and then completely with the 6th row. So I've completed the second and the third row. So the 4th row, slip stitch inside the V-stitch, and then when you're inside, chain a total of 4, and then in the very same stitch make a double crochet. So for the 4th row, it's going to be a V-stitch and chain 2. So making the first V-stitch, chain 2, and then make another V-stitch in the next V-stitch, chain 2, and then the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch, chain 2, and the next V-stitch, make a V-stitch. So for this row 4 is going to be a V-stitch and a chain 2 all the way across. So finish row 4 with a V-stitch and 2 chains all the way across, and then in the 5th row also you're going to do the same thing, a V-stitch and a chain 2 in the 5th row all the way across. And then in the 6th row, first of all do row 4 and row 5, and you're going to finish off with the row 6. I'll meet you after you've completed the 5th row. So I've completed the 5th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the last row, row 6, start by slip stitching inside the first V-stitch, and then chain a total of 4 and make a double crochet in the very same space. First V-stitch, chain 3, and in the next V-stitch make a V-stitch, chain 3, in the next V-stitch, so this is how you're going to keep doing row 6, 1 V-stitch and 3 chains, 1 V-stitch and 3 chains all the way across. And this is how you're going to do your layers. So once you complete the 6th row, each of these layers is going to have 6 rows, and the process is going to be the same. The first row just being a row of V-stitches, no chains, and it is done on top of the double crochets of this rows. So you do that, and then the second and third row is a V-stitch, chain 1, and then 4th and 5th row is a V-stitch, chain 2, and the 6th row is a V-stitch, chain 3 all the way across. So repeat the same process here, complete it. This will be the second layer, and on all the layers that you've marked according to how you decided to skip your rows, make sure that on each and every one of those, make a layer on top of it, and do that. And I'm gonna meet you when you have all the layers intact for all your sleeve, for the rest of your sleeve, and then we can move on into joining the top. Finish the first sleeve, finish the next sleeve, and then let me meet you in the next row when you have all the 3 parts and we're working on joining it. So I have done completely the 2 sleeves Hope you have also done that on your side. And now we have 2 sleeves, and they have around 7 layers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do after you have this, you're going to want to join the sleeves, but at the right places. So what you're going to do first, your bust measurement that you started with, for example, mine was 35 inches, like I had mentioned. Divide 35 inches by 2, I get 17.5. I'm going to ignore the 0.5, and I'm going to use the 17 inches as the approximate length between for my bust, yeah, from just before I get to this point. So 17 inches is what I'm going to use. You can do the same thing with your measurement. Divide that by 2, and what you get is what you're going to use for this. So once I have 17 inches, so I'm going to what you're going to do is you're going to measure 17 inches when stretched. When I stretch my work to 17 inches, making sure it's stretched, this is where I get my 17 inches is here. 17 inches when stretched at this point. So mark this point, and then take a stitch marker and place a stitch marker on that point where you have your 17 inches when stretched. So after you've measured and marked, this is where your 17 inches was when stretched. So there's this remaining part. So what you're going to do with this remaining part, you're going to count all the rows that you have left on this other side from where you marked. So in my case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I have a total of 24 rows left on this side. So this 24 rows left, I'm going to divide that by 2 to give me, and that will give me 12 rows each. So what you're going to do is you're going to count 12 rows from this side and 12 rows from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is where my 12th row is. So I'm going to mark that with a stitch marker, and then on this other side as well, count 12 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is the 12th row. Attach that with a stitch marker like that, and then you can take off this stitch marker. So what that was helping me do is, this other side is the part that is going on the back like this, and I wanted to get this in the middle point exactly. So this is what I have. So this is, if you measure, you'll still find that this distance from here to here is, when stretched, it's still 17 inches. So that's how you achieve that. So after we have this, now it's time to attach the sleeves. So pick up one of your sleeve like this. So I think the best way to join this, you can use double crochets, single crochets to join, or slip stitches. But for me, I think that the best way to join this is using a needle and a thread. So I'm going to use my Danny needle to join this part. Whatever you find comfortable and how to join, I'll show you what to do, but you're going to decide which method you're going to use to join. But for my case, this is what I'm going to use. So this is where you placed your stitch marker, and this is your sleeve, right? So what you're going to do, on the sleeve, find out where you are completing your row. So like where every row was ending, you'll find there's a straight line right there. So find the spot. For me, this is the spot, and then once you have the spot, insert your needle on this place where you have your stitch marker, and on the row that you're completing on each row. So where the edge of your work is, So for me, this is the row that I had the three chains where I was ending and beginning my rows. So exactly there, insert your hook and start joining from there. I'll start joining for me so after joining the first row, I'm going to work a total of just 2 rows, nothing much. And what I'm going to use to guide me are these rows on my sleeve, the boxes. So I'm just going to do a total of 2 rows going on the back. Remember, this is how my top is, right? This is the first point where I've joined this my sleeve to the rest of my top using a knot, right? So after joining that, the next, forget working on the front, go on the back like this, back of the top, and I'm going to do a total of 2 boxes, to join in 2 boxes. So what is going to guide me are these 2 boxes at the back here. So I'm going to join this side and this side. So this is my first box. I'm going to join until I get to my first box, and then I'm at the first box like here, and this is the second box. So I'm going to join again until I get to my second box. And this is my second box right here. So I'm just gonna make sure it's tight enough by repeating, going back and forth at least. So you just join only 2 rows, don't go too much. 2 rows is enough, and make sure it's very strong so you can go back again with your work to ensure that it's properly connected. And once you're done, cut your yarn and we'll take off this when you are weaving our ends, but that's literally what you need to do. As you can see, it's very small. Yeah, so that's exactly what you're going to do. And do this the same thing that I've shown you on this side, do it on the other sleeve, and let me meet you when you have both your sleeves attached so we can work on the back part. Okay, so I'm back after connecting both my sleeve. As you can see, this side and this side all connected. I hope you've done the same. So the last part that you're going to do now is to work on this part. So you can always adjust it to your liking when you're putting it on. We're going to use a drawstring, but first we're going to make a row of shells here that will enable you to like tie your string around. So I've already worked this side, and I'm going to show you what I did on this side so you can do it on both sides. On this side, so make a slip knot and attach your yarn at this the very first stitch. Chain 1, and after that in the next stitch, make a double crochet and another double crochet, and the last one, a total of 3 double crochets, and then chain 2 and in the very same space, make another 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. This is how my work look like. So it's like 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet, what we call a shell. So after you finish this, count the total of 4 stitches, 1 2 3 4, and then on the 4th stitch you're going to slip stitch like that. So that is our first shell, how it looks like. And then in the next 10 stitches we are going to slip stitch like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. And in the next stitch, after slip stitching for 10 rows, for 10 stitches, you're going to make another shell. So in the next stitch, make a double crochet and another double crochet and another one. So that's a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and in the very same space add another total of 3 double crochets. That's 1, the second one, and lastly. So you've made a shell. You're going to count a total of 4 stitches, 1 2 3 4, and in the 4th one you're going to slip stitch, and that's our second shell. So we are going after this, the next step is to slip stitch for a total of 10 stitches, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and lastly 10. After that, in the next one, make a double crochet in the next stitch, and then another double crochet, a total of 3 double crochets, and another one, chain 2, and in the very same stitch make another total of 3 double crochet. That's 1 2 and lastly 3. Then count a total of 4, 1 2 3 4 stitches, and on the 4th stitch you slip stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next 10 stitches, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. And on the next one, make a double crochet, first one, another one, total of 2, a third one, 3, chain 2, and then another total of 3 double crochets in the very same space. Make it a shell. That's our last shell, and still since we don't have there's only like 2, since there's only 2 stitches left, you're going to slip stitch on the last stitch. It doesn't really matter, so just slip stitch on the last stitch of your work, and that means you've completed your work. So chain 1 and cut your yarn. That's how you're going to work your back area. So you're going to do the same thing on this other side, so that you have this what we have here. You have these shells that are directly opposite to each other. They're the ones that we're going to use to make a drawstring. So this is how you make the drawstrings. Start with a slip stitch, a slip knot I mean, and after making a slip knot, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then after chaining a total of 3, come back to the very first chain that you made and make a double crochet like that. Chain 3 chain 3 and back into the space between the chain 3 and the 1 double crochet. You're going to make a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and come back inside the chain 3. This is the chain 3, the chain 3 and the double crochet. Insert your hook inside there and make a double crochet. Chain 3 and come back inside the chain 3 and the 1 double crochet and make a double crochet. Chain 3 and back inside this space, make a double crochet. Chain 3 and back into the same space, make a double crochet. Chain 3 and back into the same space, make a double crochet. So if you follow that pattern precisely, this is what you come up with. So you're going to do this for a total of around 50. So 50 in that each of these counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right now I have a total of 7. I'll meet you when I have a total of 50, so we can see how we can go on from here. So after making a total of 50, I just realized the string is a little bit short, so I'm going to add a total of another 50. So maybe you want to do the same and do that, and then let me meet you when you have a full string, so I can show you how to like place it in the back. So this is what I have for a total of 100. It's perfectly good for the back. So now let me show you how to insert this at the back the best way that you can. So you have this. Start with one side. So you're going to be inserting your string inside the chain 2 space between the shells. You start on this side and insert it on the opposite shell on the other side. completing the back, we're going to do one last thing before we complete the whole project. So you're going to attach your yarn at one end of your work, like here, on the very last double crochet row that you had made here. Attach your yarn with a single crochet, and then in each of these spaces, after the first single crochet, make 2 single crochets in the next space. Remember, this is at the very tip where we had the half double crochets. So in the next half double crochet space, make 1 single crochet. In the next half double crochet, make 2 single crochets. So that is the pattern: 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, so inside the sleeve, the mesh, you're going to make a total of 2 single crochets, and the next mesh as well. So in each of the mesh, you're going to place 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets in the mesh part. 1, 2. 2 single crochets in each mesh box. So I've gone all the way across this sleeve, and now I'm on the other side of my work, which is now the front part. So remember, on this side, you're going to keep making 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet in the next double crochet space, half double crochet space. So on the sleeves is 2 single crochets in each mesh box, and on this part, the rib part, is 1 single crochet in 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, like that. That's the pattern. So you're gonna keep repeating this. So I'm coming to the other side of my sleeve, and remember, the pattern for this is 2 single crochets in each mesh box. Add the back side. So keep the process: 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then lastly, slip stitch inside the shell, chain 1 and cut your yarn. So this is the top, weaving in your ends. This will be the O. If you like this video and you follow, like, there's something to comment, and then lastly the subscribe button to support me. I'll see you in the next one.